Hello, this is Aaron Saft on the MR Runningpains podcast. With 30 years of running experience and 20 years of coaching, I thought it time to share with you things I've learned and people I've met so that you can try things for yourself and see if they help your running. Thanks for joining me.
Wrote this song while crewing Aaron on a 100-mile foot race through the trails in the rain and mud. How about that? Miles to go. 100 miles to go. Don't ask me why I do it, I don't know. Miles by foot. 100 miles by foot. Don't ask me why I do it, I can't stay put. Rain is coming, can't give a fit. Rain is coming, can't give a fit. Don't ask me why I do it, but I am legit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast here. Today, as I record this, it is August 5th. This will release on August 6th of 2020. And last week, I talked about what's going on with me and my training, or lack thereof. And that's what I wanted to, I mentioned it last week, and that's what I wanted to get into today. Back at episode 6, if you go all the way back, episode 5, is knowing when not to run and or race. I talked about some of the reasons why we shouldn't run and what should we do, and I kind of wanted to get into the basics of this. This podcast is all about learning and learning more about running and how we can improve our running, and not take a step back. My guests that I try to bring on, they're all to educate us, to give us a perspective on running, and give us more knowledge about running. It's kind of the goal of the podcast here. Today, obviously, this is going to be me talking. Again, I do have some guests coming up here. I have episode. We haven't decided how we're going to do this, but I have a sports medicine physician. He is a MD. And I also have another sports medicine physician, and he is a DO. So MD and DO, both are they're medical doctors, and one is an allopathic, that's the MD, and the other is an osteopathic, and that's the DO. My wife is a family physician. She is a DO. and it's the osteopathic medicine practice it's a holistic approach, and we're going to talk to Kyle Judkins, who is a physician, and he's going to let us in on a little bit more about the osteopathic practice and how it relates to sports medicine and how that can benefit us. And we're also going to talk to one of my former athletes, Aaron Vaughn, who is an MD and a sports medicine physician, and what the differences are, why you would see each. So it's going to be some good conversations. I'm also going to talk to a counselor in sports, if you will, sports psychology, and how they can help people and what they do, and so we're gonna talk to another guest. So those are upcoming episodes. I'm heading on vacation next week, and we're gonna record while we're away. Think we'll finally have a family episode. I'll see if I can convince my wife to come on and talk about her running, our running, and how she keeps me going, and of course have the kids on. We haven't decided on a virtual 5K because of the current situation I'm in, which is I'm not hurt at the moment. I do not have pain per se, which is strange to say that I'm not running. I am not strong enough to run right now, and thus, if I try to run, then I get hurt. So all this came about. Let's go back a little bit here. I'll fill you in. So there was a weekend in which I had back-to-back long runs. I was training for what is this weekend, what was going to be, the 50K National Championships. So the 50K Trail National Championships were to be hosted this weekend in New Hampshire at the Ragged Mountain Trail Race. So I, getting in my long runs and stuff. My backup plan was to do the Art Loeb FKT. When I found out that the Ragged Mountain was going to be canceled, that's what I was going to fall back on. But doing kind of one of my last big weekends, and the first day went extremely well. I didn't notice a thing. Felt really good. Had a good run, and then well, I should say I felt healthy. I'm going to touch on how I was feeling in a little bit, and we'll tie it all together. But Sunday, when I was going on my second run of the back-to-backs, I was noticing that my gait was off. I wasn't getting much knee lift. And it felt like I was really coming down hard on my right side, and my calf was really getting kind of tight and sore. It progressed and got worse as the run went on. I noticed I was just kind of shuffling, which isn't atypical. Isn't typical of my normal form. And like I said, my calf just kept getting tighter and tighter, and I just I was not doing well. And so, thankfully I saw a friend, thank you, Michael Poole, for picking me up on the way out, and he drove me home, cut my run short. Well, actually, I would have been a little long that day, so he saved me from going too long, so thank you. But anyway, that all said, I was like, man, it's just not, something's not going right, and my calf remained tight, hip was kind of sore. I was noticing it on the stairs, going up and down stairs, especially when I went to one leg. That's when I really noticed it. It's been my right leg. I would notice the pressure within my hip and the inflexibility within my ankle because my calf was just so tight. So that said, if I took a few days off and then tried to run, but my calf just wasn't having it and my hip was still sore. So I decided to take a little time off, and just, step away from the FKT. If you go back, a few podcasts, I talk about, stepping away from that just because things were not going right. My hip was not good. My calf wasn't good. And so, I took about a week off and then tried to run again. And within 20 minutes, my calf locked up and it felt like I went back beyond where I was initially when I took off. I felt like probably even a little worse than that. I think my calf like knotted up, and oh man. So I went and saw my physical therapist, and she did some dry needling. Miriam Saloom, she's been on the episodes. She'll be on again. We're going to talk about the Achilles in an upcoming episode as well. But anyhow, she did some dry needling on my calf, and a little bit of soft tissue massage, and loosened it up. I thought it was going to be okay. I gave it a few days just to kind of see, and then went for another test run, and the calf tightened up even quicker this time. And then so I decided just to kind of shut it down. We bought a TENS unit, kind of a electrical stimulation, if you will. And started, running the TENS unit on my calf, half hour each day. It goes through kind of 3 different phases of electrical pulses, if you will. There's like a constant where it just kind of just stays on, and you can feel the calf just kind of fire. And then it does kind of a massage, a pulsing massage. And then there's one more where it's kind of more of an interval. It stays on for a little bit, turns off, stays on, turns off. Anyway, it was working. Knots were coming out. So that was great, and I was feeling better and better, and but the knots just would not get out of my calf, and so I went back to see Miriam, and told her what was going on, that that I just could not get rid of what was going on in my calf, and so she did an assessment, and we knew that the hip was initially the problem. So she went and did a strength discrepancy test, and tested my strength on both sides, and we could tell for sure that my right hip it was not firing. It was not strong. For instance, I did a side plank, and from the side plank, I lifted the leg that was on top, parallel to the ground, and I was to hold that for 30 seconds. On my left leg, I could hold it up for 30 seconds. On my right leg, I was struggling, with like 10 seconds to go, and then about 7 to 5 seconds to go, it just started like falling down. I couldn't control it or even keep it up. It just the leg was just falling down. It was it was frustrating. So anyway, we determined obviously that the hip needs strengthening. So to tie this all in, when running, okay, so running, we define running as having one foot that contacts the ground, the other foot. And there's a time where we could be possibly, in the air with both feet. Whereas walking, we typically have 1 foot at least in contact, potentially 2 feet in contact with the ground. So to be able to sustain coming down on one leg, so we're up in the air, both feet running. Let's take that instance, and coming down on 1 foot, the body has to be able to absorb that impact. The muscles have to fire. We've got this kind of spring system, going from our fascia up through our musculature to hold us up to our skeletal system. That it all ties together. And if you land and your body's not strong enough to absorb that impact, it compensates in some way. And that's what I was getting, deferred pain, because my hip wasn't strong enough to take the impact. So, obviously, what Miriam told me was that I can't run until I get that hip strong enough to be able to absorb impact. It had to be symmetrical. In other words, my left hip had to be the same strength as my right hip. My right hip being the problem, I needed to strengthen it, but need to remain them in balance. So doing exercises on both legs to make sure that I get that balance. I've been doing my exercises. It does feel like it's getting stronger. And I kind of had a little, I don't know if I was just tired today or what, but today, for whatever reason, it wasn't the same. The day I thought I was making progress. I guess it's just kind of like running. You have your up days and your down days. But anyhow, my leg just it's getting there, but I figured I'd start doing a little bit of walking because obviously we have that point of contact with the ground. So like I took I took speed walking when I was in college, and in speed walking you're supposed to always have 2 feet in contact with the ground. There's let me think here. 1 foot in contact with the ground. No. Anyway, whatever it is. So I was, I've been practicing just doing a little bit more walking because I can feel the hip firing and working, but I'm not putting as much pressure. Obviously when we land, we kind of talked about this with footwear. When you're walking, it's basically just a little bit more than your body weight that's coming down on the foot and ankle. When you're running, it's 3 to 5 times that. So, I'm not putting as much stress on the lower extremities by walking. I'm just trying to, get my heart rate up and get a brisk walk, so that I can start something, and that when, once I can start running, I'm not going to be like totally coming out of the blue and just trying to start running. I put on Strava that you have to walk before you can run. So I'm walking right now. Today I did my PT and just went for a walk. Tomorrow, is an off day for my PT exercises, so I'm going to supplement that with a little bit of weighted vest walking to work the core muscles and try to engage a little bit more of my musculature. One of my athletes said, can I do some ruck hiking? It really feels like I'm getting stronger because we've had to kind of supplement her training because she's been having problems with an ankle injury that she sustained, and we've been doing a lot of cross training and stuff. But the ruck has really improved her her aerobic ability, her aerobic capacity. It's neat to see something else that can help. She's training for the No Business 100 miler, and we're running again, but we're still including the ruck, and we're including cycling because we can't get a lot of mileage yet. We don't want to throw on a lot just yet. Kind of want to gradually build her back into it. But that said, for myself, the ruck has really, it's something that I incorporated when I was training with Patrick Regan. He works with Magdalena Boulay, and she believes a lot in using the weighted vest. I used it a lot when I was training for UTMB. I was doing a lot of treadmill work where I would put the incline up and just, go extended periods of time, 3-4 miles with a 20-pound vest. Just practicing that incline, getting ready for UTMB and those steep climbs. When I put on my pack, it felt so much easier because I had been used to that weighted ruck pack, that weighted vest. So, all that to say, I have accepted this course of action. I know that I have to strengthen it in order to be healthy to run again. Even if there are events that take place that I've signed up for in 2020, I'm going to decline. It's not in my best interest for my future self. I want to be here for the long haul. I want to be in the sport for years to come. And so, I have to remember that and doing too much too soon, which I seem to have put myself in that situation a number of times, too many times, within the past few years. That's why I have a coach because I don't always make the best decisions for myself. I can see from the outside perspective for others and give them feedback and such. But when it becomes to myself, I need that outside perspective. That person that's saying, maybe that's not such a good idea, Aaron. I rushed my training for UTMB last year, 2 months. I gave myself 2 months to do UTMB. It's just not enough. And so, that all said, I have, and I touched on this in a previous podcast as well. I have not done a proper training cycle in a long time. I have not worked on my aerobic base in forever. And taking this Arthur Lydiard coaching course, it just reminded me of the aerobic base, that I have to build my aerobic capacity, that I have to work on, making my aerobic paces faster, and just staying in that base, that aerobic base for, weeks on at a time, and just working back and getting that pace back where, the paces are a lot easier. I haven't done that in forever. I've done 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm like, I need to get training. We all want that, those workouts to come and make us faster, make us better, get us race ready. And I think a lot of times we just rush it too much, and we don't. It's not sustainable. So. Let's even go even more basic here. So, let's say we get this aerobic base going, right? Now an aerobic base can be whatever you need it to be. An aerobic, like what we talked about, I watched a seminar the other night. The Lydiard Foundation hosted another seminar, and Robert Livingston, who's author of a fantastic book, I have on order. I'll talk about that soon. He says that we can stay within the aerobic zone up to 80% of our maximum heart rate. So, that it doesn't have to be just, constant low, slow running. We can do some sorts of workouts as long as we're not going anaerobic. So, what Arthur Lydiard Foundation suggests is doing some fartlek runs, doing some lactic strides, which is kind of like 10-second strides, because we don't really convert to the anaerobic processes beyond that. So there's some speedy things we can do within that and play with it, and do kind of out and back runs where it's kind of a progression run where we still stay aerobic. So there's tons of things we can do, and that's some of the things that I need to get back to, and is working on that base, building my mitochondria, the energy stores of our body. There's kind of like the battery power for our body is these mitochondria, and that's what we build in the aerobic phase. So I'm looking forward to just taking some time once I can get back to running, and just taking as long as it takes to let my aerobic capacity come back, and be able to sustain faster paces at a lower heart rate. I miss that, because let me be honest. My training, it has not come to the fruition of what I feel, I should. I get fatigued. I didn't have that aerobic capacity to fall back on, because I was trying to do workouts without my base. I didn't have enough, mitochondria within my cells to provide that energy that I was requesting of my body. So I need to build that back. I need to take that time, and this year is a good time to do it. Obviously, it's and based on my decision, it's going to be even easier, because I'm not going to race this year. I'm gonna next year. I've signed up for the Black Canyon 100K, golden ticket race, whatever that may be. Obviously those are super competitive. I would just like to be competitive. The golden ticket, whatever. I don't. I'm not even thinking that. I just want to race. I just want to get stick my nose in it and be competitive. And I think, with that said, that's next February. I have plenty of time to work towards that. And then beyond that, I've said that I've signed up for the Cocodona 250, which was is something completely new and way out of my wheelhouse. So I'm excited about that, because I have a challenge, and that's what I keep telling my athletes is make 2020 something for you. 2021 something for you. I mean, we've all had a lot robbed here in 2020. So make 2021 epic. God hope we can get beyond this and move on to life, whatever life is after this. But I'm hoping we can all get back to some resemblance of normalcy. With all that said, I'm going to build my aerobic base now. It's not good to just stay with steady, slow running all the time. The body needs challenges to make adaptations to get better. If you train just slow all the time, that's what you're going to get. You're just going to stay slow. We need to challenge the body. We can't be going long all the time. We love to do that. A lot of us love to just go out and do long run after long run after long run, and then we get to a race and you feel like, why can't I? Why can't I perform? Why can't I make the cutoffs? we didn't train to make the cutoffs. We have to add things in. We have to change things up. That's why we have different phases of training. That's why we work different systems. That's why we work the max VO2 system. We work the lactic threshold. We have all those things, all these factors that we incorporate in the training so that we improve the body and its capacity to run faster and be more efficient for longer periods of time. So that's what training is all about. And so anyway. I'm looking forward to that challenge, to get my aerobic base back, to take whatever time it needs to gain it back, to feel comfortable running at faster speeds again at a lower heart rate. So that's the way I'm heading right now. I'm going to stay on my PT exercises. I think even when I start running and incorporating back some core and strength, I'm just going to make sure that I hit these basic exercises. One is calf raises. I can't, harp on how important calf raises are for all runners, especially, aging runners such as myself. The calf raises, they do so much, because of how much we require on that posterior chain while we're running. So, if you do one thing while you're at work, if you take a break, just stand up, do some calf raises, stretch out those calves, just work on that ankle mobility. Do your ABCs. All that lower part is just so important. If you have like a little tennis ball or something, kind of roll it around on the bottom of the foot, roll that fascia out, starts to loosen up that whole chain. So, but I say, I'm going to do all this, and it's still around the corner. I'm not sure when I'll start running. As I said today, I prior to today, I thought I was on the track for a quick recovery and getting back into running, but it's just a waiting game right now, and I have to be patient. It's as tough as that is. My walks right now, I go out with my dog Miles and I go for a walk and enjoy it to the best I can, because that's what I have right now. That's what I'm able to do. So we have to be able to do what the body will allow us to do. If we're working through things, we're working against ourselves. So you have to have the ability to take a step back and look at what's the body doing. Is it running properly? So be attuned to your body. Know whether you are able to run properly. Is there something off in your gait? Is it throwing you off? Is it correctable? Is it easily correctable? Or is it something that you're going to need to work on? Is it something that can lead to a potential problem? And if so, what type of problem? Do you have a history with something? How can you eliminate that problem that you're historically having? So take a step back right now, do an assessment, and physical therapists are wonderful for this. They do flexibility and strength discrepancy tests just to make sure that everything is working properly. Have a good gait analysis. Like Miriam, like I talked about earlier, she is at the Runner's Mechanic. For those here in Western North Carolina, I can't sing her praises enough. She'll get you on the treadmill and record it, go over with you what's going on, what she sees, and then go through strength and flexibility tests to make sure that everything is firing properly and working as it should, or point out any potential risks and how to solve those. Are there any hiccups in the gait that can be resolved? But if you're not in this area, seek out somebody that can. Find a resource for somebody that can potentially help you, especially if you have a reoccurring injury. Break that trend. Resolve it. Don't just let it keep happening. There's probably something in your gait that could be potentially happening. So anyhow, I'm looking forward to obviously running again and being healthy. I don't know when that will be. I'm hoping I can go for a few runs maybe next week while we're on vacation, but we'll see. It's a patience game right now. So. Anyhow, I want to thank you guys once again. My newsletter just came out on August 2nd. If you didn't get it, I have a copy, a link on my website. You can go to all my prior newsletters on my website. Tons of, that newsletter just keeps getting longer and longer. I just keep adding things to it. I wrote some articles. I wrote some gear reviews, some shoe reviews. I put some tips in there. I talk about, good podcasts that I've heard, a good book that I read, just all sorts of stuff. So, if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, you can do so on my website, mrrunningpains.com. I'm working on some new YouTube videos, so check out my YouTube channel. That's Aaron Saft is my YouTube channel. So resources on there for everybody. Check those out. Been kind of posting a lot on social media about trail work. We've been getting a lot of trail work done here in Western North Carolina. I'm really pleased. There's a section of National Forest just up the road from me called Foster Creek, and went over there and I did 8 hours of weed eating and cleared out the main trail. And then I went back last weekend with my friend Shannon Colley, and she helped me clearing out the single track that hasn't been accessible in a few years since they logged. It looks like somebody else has done some work in there too, so whoever that is, I appreciate that. Thank you. So we have that cleared out. So Foster Creek is looking great. I had some tremendous volunteer help up on the Mountains to Sea Trail. My section is from 151 to the Mount Pisgah parking area. And, I think we had 6 weed eaters running, and we got that section clear. Need to do a little bit of water bar work. My trail maintenance podcast, I've already got some response. So I really want to thank you guys for listening and for following up, for reaching out. I love the comments that say, I've been running an awful lot and I really haven't done much for the trails themselves. I'm so glad that, people feel that way and want to help. I'm not saying that you can't or you can just go run. That's totally fine. But if you can help, that's great. The more help we get, the more trails we can work on, the more we can clear. My next scheduled work day is August 29th. We're going to be working in the Turkey Pen area on Wagon Wheel Gap. That trail hasn't been touched in years. So we're going to bring out some chainsaws and rip up some trees. Probably need to run the hedgers and kind of trim some stuff back. There's, definitely some erosional concerns that we'll have to address. So the more people that can come out, the better. And then I need to get over onto Thompson Creek and do the same thing. Thompson Creek hasn't been touched in a number of years and needs a lot of trees cut out of the way. So I will have another formal work day for there. Victor Mariano is always heading out over on the Hellbender course to he's perpetually working on that place. So if you want to get out on the Hellbender course, you can always reach out to Victor. He tends to go out on the weekdays. If you're free on the weekdays, that's great. But we're trying to make some weekend work days as well, so others that work during the week have opportunities. And it may not work out that you can make it out that date, but if you can't and you want to do some stuff, just reach out to us and we'll tell you what you can do, what's allowed and what's not. So please feel free. Just reach out to me. I'm runningpains@gmail.com. That's my email. And you can my Facebook page is MR Running Pains Coaching. I'm on Instagram at MR Running Pains, and I'm on Strava. You can look me up, Aaron Saft, MR Running Pains. And obviously right now you can follow my journey. I'm just kind of getting back to it. PT, you can start incorporating some core stuff. Like I said, the weighted vest, so you can see what I'm up to, how I'm training, and how I'm going to get back, and then you can follow the journey, as I go through this. And if you have questions, about training or anything like that, feel free to reach out. I have some coaching spots that have come open, so if anybody's interested in having a conversation about coaching, if any of this stuff that I just kind of talked about jives with you and just kind of struck a chord and you're like, hey, I think that's what I've been doing and I need to do something different, let's have a conversation. Reach out. I'm totally happy to talk to you about that. I've got some some fall events that I'm coordinating for my athletes that, as long as the trails are open, they'll happen. So we have things that we can train for. We have 2 sub ultra weekends for those that want to run 5K to marathon. So we have opportunities there. We're doing a shut-in weekend for ourselves, in which we'll have our own start times. Everything is kind of self-crewed, as well as pacers. And we have 2 ultra weekends, that are a part of the group. And that's 50K, 50 mile, 100K, and 100 mile. Again, I'll have established routes with GPX files for the athletes. They are to provide their own crew and pacers and have separate start times so that we're not all starting at the same time and all crowding the same trailhead and it's obviously they're not formalized races in any way. It's just something that they can train for. So if you're interested in being a part of that or finding out more about my coaching services, obviously please reach out. I sincerely appreciate that. And again, I want to thank you for your ears. Thank you for your time, for listening. If you would, please subscribe to the podcast. It's on any listening platform. You can find the MR Runningpains podcast. But if you would subscribe and leave a review for me, it helps more listeners to find the podcasts. If you enjoyed what you hear in a specific episode, if you don't mind sharing it, I sincerely appreciate that as well. Once again, guys, stay safe, and until next time, run on.